Hi, and welcome back to Pages and Projects with Liz. I thought since last video I went through a whole bunch of books that I really wanted to read before the end of the year. This video I would change it a little bit and go through some Book of the Month books that I have been nervous to read. These are books that I keep pushing off for different reasons. Not all of them are low rated. There's just something about it that every time I think about reading it, I pass it over and move on to another book. So I'm going to really try to prioritize and go through these books, although not likely by the end of the year, just to see if it is something that I want to read or not. For all of these books that I'm going to go through, I am going to go through them in order of their ratings on Goodreads, from highest rated to lowest rated. The first book is The Wedding People. This has a Goodreads rating of 4.09 and was published in July 2024. This book is one that I'm just worried won't live up to the expectations, and it's also a genre that I don't tend to really love the same way that other people do. This was a book that I got as a free option. I had passed it over the first time that it came up, but then it being one of the award winners was an option to add on for one of my book boxes. It's literary fiction. I've heard it described as such a great book that it's very emotional. It'll make you cry. And that's just not something that I'm always into. I do read across a lot of genres, but oftentimes when I'm getting stressed and just overwhelmed, I do tend to go more towards horror or thriller, or even a really cheesy rom-com. So the idea of something that is so emotional does make me a little nervous about going through and finally reading it. The next book is Ink Blood Sister Scribe. This has a 4.0 rating and was published in May 2023. A lot of the books in this stack were from 2023. That's how long I've been putting off reading these. This is a book that has good ratings on Goodreads. Not that I always match up with what Goodreads ratings are. It sounds like it's a book that I'm really going to like, but around the time when I got it and I was thinking about reading it, I started to see a lot of bad reviews online through BookTube. And that made me a little nervous because some of them were from people who have very similar reading tastes to me. And so again, I just keep pushing this off, even though it has the potential to be a book that I really enjoy. Next is A Fate Inked in Blood. This has a 3.91 rating and was published February 2024. This is a book that, again, sounds like it could be something that I really enjoy, but also I have not been having great luck with fantasy books that are part of series, and this is the first book in a series. This is a book that I really want to like because not only did I select it as a Book of the Month pick, I also got it as part of a Fairy Loot subscription box. So I have 2 editions of this book, and again, just really want to enjoy it. And for some reason, the books that I really want to like the most are the ones that I just keep pushing off. Next up is The Vampires of El Norte. This has a 3.88 Goodreads rating and was published in August of 2023. This is a book that, again, from the description, sounded like something that I would enjoy. I like a lot of paranormal types of books, but I have not seen a lot of good reviews about this book from any of the people that have similar reading tastes to me. So again, kind of nervous about it, have kept pushing it off. Next is Dark Corners. This has a 3.83 rating and was published in August of 2023. Not only does it have a low rating, it's also book 2 in a series. It sounds like you can read them out of order, but I didn't read the first one. Sometimes that has been a problem with other books that I've read where I've jumped into the middle of a series You don't really get as well connected with the characters in the story. And then the reading being a little lower is, again, just made me hesitant to actually go through and finally read this book. Next is Did You Hear About Kitty Carr? This has a 3.74 rating and was published in May of 2023. This is a book that, again, not really a type of book or genre that would jump out at me to read. It's multi-generational, it's old Hollywood, showbiz. It's just not necessarily something that I'm super into. I'm pretty sure I picked this book because it sounded like the best of some of the options that were available. It was early on in my book of the month subscription, and I didn't really skip books or skip months at that time. So I've been a little bit better more recently about skipping if there's a month that nothing really jumps out at me. But at the time, this sounded like it might have been interesting, and the little blurb on the website sounded good. But it's just not really been interesting enough to get my attention to read since I've had it. Next is The Stranger Upstairs. This has a 3.45 rating and was published in September 2023. This book is similar to a couple of others that I've read more recently. It's about a house that someone is trying to renovate, some possible problems, spookiness with that. So from the blurb, it does sound like something I would like, but the low rating has really just put me off. I've gone and read other books that, again, on similar themes, but definitely ones that I've enjoyed. Whereas this one just keeps being put at the bottom of the pile. And finally, I have The Kingdom of Sweets. This has a 3.22 rating and was published November 2023. This has been at the very bottom of my pile for a while. I didn't even realize when I was trying to pull out books with holiday themes that this is a novel that is supposed to be about the Nutcracker. So even though this has a terrible rating and I'm really hesitant about, I feel like out of all of these, if I was going to read one by the end of the year, this would be the one that I read just to try to read it during the month of December when at least it feels like it's the right time of year to get through it. So those are the 8 book of the month books that I've been putting off. For some of them, I've been putting them off for over 2 years now. If you've read any of these books, if you have anything that you want to say about them to encourage me to read them, or, sort of encourage me to just go ahead and pass them along without putting myself through reading them, I'd really appreciate any comments in the comments below. Also, I'd like to know if there are any books that you keep putting off and what the reason is for you perpetually keeping it on your TBR. Thank you very much. Check back in, I guess, for my monthly wrap-ups and see if I finally get through any of these or if any of them end up making my unhaul video for the end of the year.